Welcome to a much delayed 007 episode, and not the one that we wanted to be here to talk about, because we are gathered here today to pay tribute to the late, the great, the one and only original, Sean Connery. And for once, Ben didn't kill a Bond, so...
Well, actually, I'm going to interrupt.
Oh, no.
We did record an episode for this one. We just haven't released it because now that Sean's dead, we've got some editing to do in that episode.
Yeah. It's just like... Yeah, just like after 9/11, you know, everybody's covering all the stuff that they had in their content, but... No, but at least on the surface, Ben isn't at fault for once for James Bond actor dying. And it has to be Sean, no. But we are here to give you a Schmashing tribute to the late, great Sean Connery, who died at the time of recording this hours ago. Barely had time to process. The tears are still running down our cheeks. My name is Colin, and it's the same old dream. Our asylums are full of people who think they're Napoleon, or God, or Sean Connery.
And my name is Ben, and I like Sean Connery. I don't understand him, but I like him. There was a quote that you thought I was going to... Yeah, no.
And women.
and women, yes. Women.
I approve. Now, can we just...
Nothing
Can we just do this whole episode as Sean Connery?
Yes.
Welcome to 007. We are here today to discuss the late Sean Connery. My name is Noah Groves.
Pleasure to be here today with these fine young gentlemen. Now move, it's man talk.
Now move! It's just gonna be all of our favorite Sean Connery quotes that we Googled before the episode began.
Yeah. There's so many favorite ones that we had to Google them.
Yeah. But seriously, like, I mean, just starting off here, I mean, the morning starts. I wake up early, like 5 a.m., just because, not that I wanted to, couldn't get bak to sleep.
Some sweet potato fries to cook, Colin.
Yeah, the sweet potato fries were calling me. I was hungry.
Cook me, Colin. Cook me.
I thought to myself, Connery would be eating these. Why shouldn't I?
Yes.
But I opened up my phone, and I don't know, it was early, like 6, 7 a.m., probably not even 7 a.m., and I saw Sean Connery dead. And at first I thought it was a joke. And then I started Googling it and saw, no, Sean Connery died, like they announced it 10 minutes earlier. So I posted it on our page. I messaged it in our group chat. Happened so quickly that Noah had actually messaged literally at the exact same time, the exact same story. And all of our reactions were, what did Ben do this time? But it wasn't Ben. And Jamie, my wife, woke up, and as she was coming down the stairs, I said, Sean Connery died. She was like, what? Like, complete shock. What?
Falling down the stairs, started crying. Oh!
I want a lock of his chest hair.
Keanu Reeves dies. She'd be doing that.
Oh, yeah. Keanu Reeves dies. She's right out the door. She's not coming back. Even
I'm
in
an
death.
necrophiliac now.
She doesn't want to be separated from that man. Not even death will separate her from Keanu.
He can't run away from him when he's dead.
But I was sort of reminded of a conversation. This does not put me at blame. I had nothing to do with this. But a couple months ago, some celebrity died. I don't even remember who it was. And Jamie sort of mentioned it. Typically, I don't really get that beat up about celebrity deaths. And she was like, oh, did you hear this person died? I'm like, yeah, that's too bad. And then she was just like, what would you do if Sean Connery died? And I'm like, it would be like a member of my family left me.
It was Jamie who did it there.
It was her, months ahead of time. He's been in a coma for months, maybe. I don't know. But
he's apparently been sick for quite some time, according to the statement. Yeah. So it's Jamie's fault.
Oh, Jamie! You killed Sean! She says, no, I didn't.
Great comeback, Jamie. Good job.
See,
I just had a dream that you'd literally be recording all day with Ben on a podcast, so my dream was true.
Did you hear that?
She's had a dream that she was. I was recording all day with you. I'm glad I'm in your wife's dreams. It's working.
Jamie, stop dreaming about Ben. Get upstairs.
No, Jamie, keep dreaming about me. Oh, good.
I'll tell the story about the recording thing quickly here too. So after I told her Sean Connery died, she said, "You're not recording anything today, are you?" Which she'd asked me yesterday, and I said, "No, nothing till Sunday." And then she's like, oh, good, because I had this dream last night and I got so mad at you. I came into our room and you were like digging through the closet. And I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm looking for this movie. I need to cover something with Ben. He's like, you said you weren't recording anything today. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, but it's going to take us all day because we really like this movie. So she's having bad dreams about us recording. And I said, well, bad news. We're recording on Sean Connery, Jamie. But it's her fault. So you can live with
Jamie.
it. Ben, you were a couple hours behind us on this terrible news.
I'm always a couple hours behind, apparently. Yeah, I mean, at the time of recording this, I've only been awake for like 90 minutes, basically. And so it's a Saturday and a rare time when Mallory's actually at home on a Saturday. She generally works. She's got today off. And she was awake and I kind of was half awake. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh my gosh, Sean Connery died. And like straight away, I'm like, what? Like a bit more serious than that. And so then she like shows me and, you know, it's like the BBC link. So generally I believe the BBC. So like I kind of look, then my second thought is to like, you know, verify. And then my third thought is literally, I didn't say anything about this one. It's not my fault. And then that's when, so like, of course, when you're in those moments, like you're in shock. You're like, wow. And like, and this is no disrespect the way I say this. I mean, it's not something that's completely shocking. It's not like he's 27, like he was 90, and we'll talk about that. So like, I mean, all jokes aside about us killing Roger Moore, that was that conversation when we did have it, was that we are going to be close to a James Bond actor dying one day. Thankfully, after that conversation, it's taken 3 years for two of them to die. They didn't just die in 3 weeks after that. So you kind of, you know, you're in that moment, you're like, wow, you process it. And then my first instinct was, funnily enough, to pick up my phone and tell you guys that you had both beaten me to the punch. It was only by 45 minutes, I think. I think the message said 45 minutes ago. So it wasn't actually that far removed. But even with something like this, when, you know, you sadly know it's going to happen one day. I mean, it's going to happen with all of us one day, but like when somebody's that age, you realize you're closer to it than you would be, hopefully, for you and I, for example. So yeah, you're definitely shocked, but you're also kind of able to, I guess, take that moment to reflect. And one thing I'll say I'm glad is that, you know, we're able to jump on here basically straight away and do this. Like with Roger Moore, I think it took us maybe a week or two before we did. I was traveling, obviously, at the time. I think Noah was traveling. I mean, he's still traveling right now, so he's not here today. But I'm glad that I can do this like very, very quickly afterwards and not be in a bus shelter in Ohio. I think that's where I was when I was doing that Roger Moore one from memory.
You're in Kentucky right now, actually.
Yeah, I am. I'm in North America. Like, what is it with James Bond actors dying while I'm in North America? Like,
you know what, Ben?
I need to go back to Australia. I need to save the other 4.
Canada's deporting you by morning. If Lazenby croaks, you're out of here.
No, Timothy, hold on.
And that was our next reaction. It was actually 4.5 hours, so I don't know where your 45 minutes came from. But Ben's a
4 and a 5, so 4.5.
Ben's a late sleeper, we've learned. No, that was our other reactions. Where were you, Ben? And I think you said, I was checking up on George and Timothy and Pierce to make sure they're okay. No mention of Craig.
I needed to make sure. I said Dan. I said Daniel, but he's the youngest. He's who actually, just quickly, who is the next oldest? It would be George, wouldn't it? So George, shit.
Well, I'm trying to think. No, I
Timothy.
think they're probably the same age, I think. No, you know what? You're right. It would be Lazenby. Yeah,
Lazenby's 81, and Timothy Dalton is 74. So,
yeah. We'll go through a couple things here, like our favorite moments from Sean Connery. Maybe run through our rankings to see where he landed on all of our best of lists. But you have any plans to watch anything? Like, it's funny, I just through my Bond rewatch, I just finished Live and Let Die, I think, before No Time to Die was canceled. Which, breaking news, No Time to Die has been pushed to April.
Oh yeah, we did an episode on that, didn't we? Yeah.
It only happened 45 minutes ago, though, so we are actually pretty fresh on the case here.
Having said that, The Man Who Haunted Himself also coming soon to double.
Yes.
We're being slack, people.
Yeah,
sorry.
We're busy talking about Brendan Fraser over on the Oz Network. I mean, I finished the Bond movies, and I immediately thought we got to watch the Bond movies, Jamie. But then I'm like, there's so many other Connery movies. And I mean, I'm a big Connery fan, but I didn't even realize how many of his movies I absolutely loved. And I started going through the filmography. I'm like, Entrapment. Yeah, got that. Zardoz. No, already did it. It's okay. So on. And yeah, I definitely have plans. I actually this morning was watching the movie he made with Alfred Hitchcock called Marnie, which because it's been a long time since I've seen that movie, and right around the era of Bond. First thing I did was I went on Amazon and I'm like, I don't own The Rock. I don't own Rising Sun, which I don't know if you know. Rising Sun was based on a Michael Crichton novel. Him and Wesley Snipes.
Familiar with it, yeah.
Yeah, I immediately bought those movies as soon as I found out about this. I'm like, I gotta have like all the Connery. Like, it'll just be Connery all week now. I mean, any plans?
I mean, I was saying those films that you're saying. I've actually never seen The Rock.
What?
I've always wanted to.
We're covering it right now, live coverage.
When I went to Alcatraz, I remember they got like a little section there, and it's kind of got like films and TV shows either filmed here or set here, and big poster to The Rock. So, but a random one that I actually really like. I remember watching a lot in school, and I think it's one of his last ever movies too. Was Finding Forrester.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really actually liked that movie, and I don't know if that's a popular opinion or not because I felt that didn't do too well.
No, it did very well.
It did do well. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of something else, but just looking at his filmography, that's definitely one that I wouldn't mind watching again. And I mean, I've always kind of had it on my list to rewatch the Indiana Jones movies because I feel I don't like. I love the Indiana Jones movies, of course, but I feel like it's been a long time since I've ever gone over them. So probably those. Entrapment was a movie I actually haven't watched that. I've watched fairly recently. But I love Entrapment. I mean, Catherine Zeta-Jones and Sean Connery, that's a good combination to me. They're both very beautiful people to look at for 2 hours. But I'm surprised you didn't put down Sir Billy. I'm very tempted to watch his final ever movie. Well, I mean, they're credited here as a narrator for Ever to Excel as his final ever film. But, when you've got a bomb like Sir Billy to choose from, I don't know. I feel tempted to watch that.
Well, we're going to be covering it at some point. We know once people sign up for our Patreon, which where do they go to sign up for our Patreon, Ben?
That is that website, which I believe is patreon.com. The remainder of that is a web address in which people, of course, can visit the following by typing in the address that is patreon.com/007. That was actually quite easy. For a limited $3 a month. And can I just say that I swear I won't play it today. It's not the time to play the song. I will not play Die Another Day, but we did say that I would never play that again if we got at least one Patreon. We haven't gotten one, so I'm still free to play it as much as I want, but I'm serious. I won't play it today.
And sadly, we've actually had comments online from people who say that they love Die Another Day's theme song.
Yes,
so we may have to pull that.
Yeah, I've got to find that person's name, singled out it as great. And also, Die Another Day memes. Follow it now on Instagram. It's available.
So biggest mistake, off the topic of Sean Connery, biggest mistake I ever made was I discovered this account, Die Another Day, or Meme Another Day, which is all memes in support of Die Another Day. And I saw one, I every single week, I'm like, oh, Ben would like this, but I'm not sharing it with him. And then one week, I'm like, I'll share this one with Ben. And of course, now it's Ben's favorite Instagram account.
And a shout out to Lorenzo Granger commented. So basically what we did on International James Bond Day on October 5, because generally I'm the person who posts on our social media account. I'm like, happy International James Bond Day. Let's celebrate with this iconic video celebrating the history and legacy of the greatest movie franchise. And of course I shared Die Another Day film clip. And Lorenzo Granger says, amazing. To you love Die Another Day. I respect you. You love your favorite. And we wrote back, you're our new favorite listener. They wrote back, I've been listening to your guys' podcast for a long time. You guys' podcast, entertaining, awesome. And then I wrote back with a GIF with the guy from that 70s show doing the I love you thing. I love that GIF. And he replies, I love the Die Another Day theme song, to which I liked it. I gave the thumbs up.
I was this
Lorenzo,
close.
We love you.
I was this close to replying to Lorenzo and saying, you are one of our host's favorite listeners. But I didn't want to cross.
I'm going to play the song anyway. Screw it, Lorenzo.
No. I will say this. Listen, if we get a Patreon subscriber, let's change it now since apparently there are some people out there who like Die Another Day. If we get a Patreon subscriber, you'll get a free bonus video of me singing Madonna's Die Another Day. Yeah.
unsubscribing right now. Does that
Can't be
count?
Ben. Can't be Ben.
Right, how many friends do I have? I'm gonna like get someone you don't know. I want to see a video of Colin singing "Die Another Day." That would make my year. Wow.
Let's get back on track to Sean Connery.
Sorry,
See,
Sean.
only Ben can promise we will not hear about Die Another Day and make it all about him, the vanity project of Ben Waterworth that is 007.
Yes,
we're,
it is.
we're doing video, people. You can see the reaction.
Hello, people can see our faces. This is why we don't do video usually.
I should have actually checked to make sure there's nothing embarrassing in my background. I'm literally in the corner of a basement right now.
Staring at those like underwear in the background there. They look like male underwear, so I'm guessing they're Jamie's conquests.
Is there actually underwear there?
He's believing me. Wow, this is great.
I know. I see
anything there.
I see a broken down car seat box. I see a car seat. I see Cookie Monster. I see a treadmill.
Literally been like, there's a dead body behind you. I'm like, wait, you can see that?
You notice that when you said there was underwear, my worry wasn't like, does he know I'm not wearing pants?
Well, now we do.
I will prove it. I am wearing pants. Can anybody see?
Oh, this is
Shorts. It's close.
Wearing pants. I'm always worried when Colin goes to stand up on these things because one of these days it's just going to flop out and there it is.
We're covering Sean, not Pierce. Anyways, let's move on here. Sean Connery, though, it's amazing. I started to wonder whether my news feeds were just so dominated by James Bond or if he had this much of an impact. But I honestly believe he had this much of an impact because it's probably Carrie Fisher was the last time I think I saw where a celebrity died, where there were this many people commenting on it and this many people posting and sharing stories. I mean, it's absolutely crazy, but I mean, it shouldn't be surprising. I mean, yeah, there were massive movie stars, prior to this, but James Bond was arguably the first character, probably bigger than Sherlock Holmes, a character that was larger than life, where an entire franchise was built around this. And unlike other franchises that may have existed prior to that, this was like beyond blockbuster. I mean, the Star Wars movies now, the Avengers movies now, that was James Bond at the time. They were like the highest grossing films every time they came out. It was merchandising, galore. And as big as that character and that franchise was, you can think of anything else. You could recast Iron Man. You have recast Spider-Man and people will still pay for it. But there was so much of a worry about recasting, no disrespect to Lazenby, but you could not recast Sean Connery. And one of the most famous stories, I think it was from the On Her Majesty's Secret Service making of, was that You Only Live Twice. They promoted the movie knowing it was Sean Connery's last movie. The promotion was Sean Connery is, big letters, is James Bond. And the next time there was no mention of who was playing him, and he was downplayed on the poster for Lazenby. I mean, I can't think of any other actor in a single role who was as important to that role, even though the role itself was bigger than any actor.
I agree. And I think we live in a world, as you listed a bunch of very notable franchises where, we don't think twice about these things now. And whenever you have an iconic character, you just assume that one day they're going to be recast, right? You don't think twice about it. But yeah, this was unique. This was a very rare thing. And the level that these films hit in the 60s and catapulted Sean into that level of fame based on this character. It's crazy to just think, and it would have been amazing to be around at that point. Even talking to my dad, my dad was born in 1961. So, he was a very small child. So, he basically got to the 70s before he ever really got it. But one person I know who was a big Sean Connery fan, my grandma, and she's Scottish. So like a lot of it comes down to the fact that very proud Scotsman, Sean Connery. So every Scot I think is very proud of Sean Connery. So she wasn't the type of person who's going to watch Bond films, but she loved him no matter what he was in. And I think a lot of that love came from when he came out in the 60s, basically as this massive movie star. So yeah, I think we're seeing that from the tributes today based around, how many people are saying things. Cause you're right. Like scrolling through my newsfeed, I've got plenty of people on my social media channels who I wouldn't have assumed would say anything about Sean Connery. And they are. And this just goes to show. Possibly the actor you were talking about before when you said a celebrity death, obviously we, sadly lost Chadwick Boseman not too long ago, which, that one's probably more so shocking because he's, a lot younger. Mm-hmm. He's kind of at the peak of his powers and, very sad. But, no matter what people want to say about Chadwick Boseman, he wasn't on Sean Connery levels. And even though, as I said before, the passing of Sean Connery isn't necessarily a huge shock, it's still quite jarring. People are still very shocked about it, and we're seeing that. I mean, this was the second biggest story on the BBC website, only behind, the UK going into lockdown for 4 weeks because of COVID. This is the stature is his, and there's very few movie stars, I feel, no matter what age, that when they pass away, they would reach this level of grief that people are expressing right now and celebration of his life. Because outside of Bond, I mean, he was an enigma. He, was an Academy Award winner, arguably the most successful Bond actor outside of Bond. But you would argue he only got to that level because of James Bond. That was the point. That's where he got to that level, so he could be that type of person and have that sort of late career renaissance that he had. So, yeah, back when we joked about a Bond actor dying, I shouldn't say joke. That's not the correct way to say it. We would never joke about such things. But, you would always assume that Sean was going to be the first to go. And no disrespect to Roger passing, because obviously that was very sad. But pretty much only everybody knew him for James Bond. And, there was definitely grief. But I don't think there was ever going to be a level of grief of a passing of a Bond actor that we're going to have until right now with Sean Connery.
You said it best. I mean, everybody saw this coming. They knew eventually the man's 90, he's not going to live forever. But maybe it was because he had that appearance. What was it at Wimbledon?
The US Open. That was about
US Open.
Not last year's, but the years before. I think about 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. And I think the guy's been retired for so long. And I think that's the other odd thing is there's probably a lot of people who assumed Sean Connery was already dead just because he hasn't acted since League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Well, 2000.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry, Sir Billy.
Live action. Nobody's seen the man since 2003, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which I think is one of the things I loved about him. I mean, this is a guy who acted until he just decided this isn't fun anymore. I'm going to go out now. And, I'm not a big fan of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It's not a great movie, but it made a lot of money. And, he probably could have milked that for a franchise if he wanted to. So he decided to just go out on top. And, he retired to the Bahamas. And my first thought was when they said, he passed away, his home was in Bahamas or whatever, is how I drove past that house. And I've told this story on the show before, but before Jamie and I got married, I was watching Thunderball one night and just decided I love the locations of this movie. I wonder if I could talk Jamie into going there for our honeymoon. And I backdoor had a honeymoon so that I could walk in the footsteps of Sean Connery. That's how much I
got married.
Exactly.
I got married.
I picked Jamie because she's the only one who would go to the Bahamas with me. She'd only get married.
We had a row of women basically lined up. So, you want to get married? No. Okay. You want to get married? Oh, you do? Bahamas, the honeymoon. Oh, no, Jamaica, no, boo. You want to get married?
Exactly. Until I found somebody who was willing to fulfill my Sean Connery fantasies. That's what I look for in a woman. Somebody who will fulfill my Connery fantasies.
And Jamie fulfills many a man's fantasies.
Yes.
So,
in and out of dreams, apparently. But on our last day there, after visiting all the locations we could find or had time to go to, our first day there, literally, I dragged her for 2 hours across a beach looking for all the locations from Thunderball. And she was newly married.
That in 2020, Colin, I dragged her across the beach.
Physically by the hair, across the sand.
Man talk, come with me.
Quiet, Dink. But, if we weren't newly married, there's no way she would have done that for me. And I appreciate her for that. And we got to locations literally on two separate sides of the longest beach in the Bahamas. And the one thing I want to find Sean Connery's house. And I knew the neighborhood he lived in. I didn't know exactly where he lived. And on the cab ride to the airport afterwards, I just rolled my camera. And I've got this footage somewhere. And maybe one day I'll find out which house it is of Connery's. I rolled the camera for 3 or 4 minutes as we drove past all the mansions in this one neighborhood that are literally just side by side. And it was over. And like one of those houses was Sean Connery's. And there were people who, when we came back, said, because I talked about Sean Connery so much, when we came back from our honeymoon, they said, I was afraid, Jamie, that you would have come back alone and Colin would have been arrested for stalking Sean Connery. So
did you not want to go and knock on the doors, or was it like a gated community?
Oh, no, it was completely gated, completely almost like its own isolated island. You'd have to be separated by water to get there, or a single bridge. But yeah, that's my greatest Sean Connery memory is the closest I ever came was this far from Sean Connery, let's say.
Could you not have just swum across the crocodile infested moat or whatever and just be like, Sean, it's your son. I'm here to bring you some cookies. And surely one of the guards might have been like, oh, there he is. There's Sean's son.
He just rips down my chest. He rips down my chest. He's like, not enough. Get off!
So you need to draw some on your chest. Sorry, I'm not manly enough. Oh wait, no, you are. Off you go. Off you pop, son.
No,
Yes,
you nothing else.
I haven't been close to Sean Connery, so I was gonna say something there, but I haven't been to the Bahamas. My honeymoon is going to New York because I'm a big Live and Let Die fan, apparently. So we're just gonna drive around the outskirts of Manhattan, calling people honkies. So
Great plan. Mallory's going to be thrilled about it.
oh, Mallory can't wait. Yeah.
Now, I mean, Connery also, it's interesting that he actually transcends, the what would you call it, demographics? Because you mentioned your dad. Your dad, you said he was born in 61?
61, yep.
Yeah, so he would be like a year younger than my mom was. My mom would have been obviously just as young when the Bond movies were out, probably too young to really appreciate them. But I always remember she would talk about Sean Connery and say when she was a kid and all the other girls were in love with Sean Connery as James Bond, she always thought that he was super ugly. And then she's like, you know what? I don't know what the weirdest thing is. When that guy went gray and lost all of his hair and started looking like a hobo, man, he was hot. I think that's you think, okay, that's just a mom thing. But I'm sure Mallory's had the same reaction. And Jamie has looked at pictures of old man Sean Connery and be like, wow, he was sexy.
Well, funnily enough, when we got up to Man with the Golden Gun in our rewatch, kind of we paused there and we'll restart it again, but we've got plenty of time. I keep delaying it. But so Mallory sat through all the Sean Connery ones, and every single movie, Mallory's like, oh, he's so attractive. And this is young Sean Connery, right? This is like, there. But I've told this story plenty of times, but I just love telling this story. I had a friend in college, like year 11, year 12, and I think that might have been around about when he was World's Sexiest Man. It might have been a bit after. I think he was World's Sexiest Man in 99, wasn't he? But the conversation came up, and my friend Katie, she's like, oh, yeah, Sean Connery's so hot. And I'm like, what, like 60 Sean? No, like now. He's like so hot. And I'm like, he's old enough to be your grandpa. And she replies, if he was my grandpa, incest wouldn't be a problem. So I've always remembered that. Hello, Katie, if you're listening. But he had something about him. Like some people, I don't want to say men because it's women as well. Some people just age to a point where they get attractive as they get older. And like, you're going to laugh at me for this, and fair enough, everyone's going to laugh at me for this. I honestly find Madonna more attractive the older she gets. I think she's more attractive now than she was. So I've lost Colin. So like it happens with some people. I mean, Pierce, my God, that man just transcends all ages. He's hot when he's young, hot when he's old. It's something about that. But I don't know, some men in particular, when it comes to the facial hair, like the gray hair does things for them. It makes them more, wise and like it's kind of funny because like, so let's look at someone like Jack Nicholson, right? Known as a bit of a ladies' man and kind of that, like, and no disrespect to Jack, but maybe doesn't age as gracefully as Sean. I feel that there's a bit of skin flapping in places for Jack Nicholson that kind of is a bit off-putting. But he's got that charisma about him. He's Jack Nicholson, right? Like, he's going to have that. Whereas Sean Connery, like, probably also a bit of a ladies' man in his day. He was married for quite some time, so I think he settled down and everything. But I think if he was single, even as like 90-year-old Sean there in the Bahamas, there would have been some Bahamian women who would have had some good nights to have. Maybe they did. Maybe they had an open marriage. I don't know. Some
Canadian women too, flying over there.
But not those Hungarian women. They've got no humor, remember?
Oh, exactly. Humorless, disgusting people.
I know.
Hello to all our Hungarian listeners. You can sign up for our Patreon right now.
We've got some Hungarian going, yes, I was about to sign up, but you make fun of Homeland. No, I will not sign up to you. I go to Spectre, etc. instead. I don't know why Hungarians are Russian all of a sudden, but hey, best I could come up with.
We do have some comments from Noah here.
Hang on. Some comments, plural?
Some words.
We have bonus comments.
We have 3 words here, so it falls into the plural category. You know what? Just to fulfill everybody for their Noah fix here, let's just read through the whole thing here. First of all, let's go back to the beginning here. I said, and this time Ben had nothing to do with it. Noah said, Lazenby gotta watch his back.
That's like Noah's going after George Lazenby.
Yeah, he's holding Lazenby at fault for Connery's death. Lazenby, you better watch yourself.
You gotta watch your back, George.
Then we had this is the dedication of Noah Groves. I love that Ben gave him the excuse earlier. Well, he's traveling right now. I said at 8
He's
something.
not traveling. Sorry, Colin. He's pissed. It's Saturday night in Korea. He is
Yeah.
fucking drunk right now. This is what he does. Good on you, Noah, that you've got a life and we're married and don't have a life. But anyway.
He's been celebrating the end of COVID there way too hard
Yeah.
for the last 6 months.
For 6 months. Like, we get it. Korea beat COVID. Good for you.
Yeah, you
okay?
gave it to
Poor
us,
Colin's
Noah.
Poor Colin's in lockdown in Winnipeg. Over here in BC, I can't have more than 6 people in my house. Not that I know 6 people here, but whatever. I could.
I'm
I
surrounded by treadmills, car seats, and underwear, apparently. And I could bother to be here.
A tiger behind me. It's been dead for 80 years.
You know what? I bet you that Noah killed that too.
You probably did.
But anyways, back to the chat here. I immediately said we should do a tribute episode this weekend. Noah responds with an exclamation mark. Yeah! And then let's scroll down a bit then. You say, I could do something probably in 30 minutes. I said, sure, me too. Noah, I'm out, but rip.
No, I know you're going to listen to this episode in 6 months' time drunk. So,
He's not listening. But here are the actual words as Ben gave him the opportunity. If you want to type out some words about Sean, we'll read them out on air.
Thought give him an opportunity, like, you know, like,
all right.
Jokes aside, can't make it. He's too busy with friends and girls and being drunk, having a life. Cool. So I thought, well, okay, well, maybe he wants to say some kind words about Sean Connery.
Yeah. So this is what he says. Miss you, Sean. Which is all of our thoughts. Ben's replied, deep man, deep.
Which he's read it and hasn't replied.
So we had to give you a 2-minute fix of Noah Groves, and we stretched that as far as we could.
In all seriousness, no. Like, I mean, look, Noah was part of the Roger Moore one, and you know, different to the Roger Moore one. We had like a week to prep that one. Colin, you put that together. You kind of did 2 little segments with us. I'm sure Noah would love to be here for this, but the feedback that has been coming out from people already, and I know that 2 Bond actors have already released
Lazenby.
statements. Lazenby's got a big one here.
It's like, I'm watching myself.
Yeah, watching my back, guys. That Noah guy left me. Says, only a few weeks ago, I was wishing Sean all the best for his 90th birthday. Now, I'm very sad to be condoling with his family and friends. Of course, Sean Connery as James Bond inspired me personally, but seems to have encapsulated an age, the 60s. I met Sean a couple of times, and I was pleased he'd given my Bond film On Her Majesty's Secret Service his seal of approval. He was going to do my film many times, and I felt it was the best of the Fleming tales. But to me, the most important thing was his work went far beyond Bond, into charity, into family, into politics, and into golf. A man after my own heart, a great actor, a great man, and an underappreciated artist has left us. My thoughts are with Lady Michelin and Sean's children and grandchildren. Only love, George XXX. And I don't know if you saw Daniel Craig.
No.
Also released one. So...
Oh, this is exclusive for the Oz Network. As long Noah
Daniel
Groves,
yeah,
George Lazenby, and Daniel Craig all decided to send their thoughts into us today.
Yeah, Daniel just texted me just beforehand. And he's like, sorry. I was like, oh, I should write something more than that. I could write more than with my little finger. I can't do a Craig impersonation. There's nothing to impersonate there. It is with such sadness that I heard of the passing of one of the true greats of cinemas. Makes it about him. I heard about Sean's passing.
He's the Ben Waterworth of Bond actors.
Oh, so selfish. So Sean Connery will be remembered as Bond and so much more. He defined an era and style. The wit and charm he portrayed on screen could be measured in megawatts. He helped create the modern blockbuster. He will continue to influence actors and filmmakers alike for years to come. My thoughts with his family and loved ones. Wherever he is, I hope there is a golf course. There you go. And other ones, I read through all of them, but this is just some other people who have put statements out. The First Minister of Scotland, so basically the leader of Scotland, is Nicola Sturgeon, has put out some words. Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli have. Hugh Jackman has put out some words. Sam Neill. Elton John is the Noah Groves of tributes, a true screen legend. Thanks, Elton.
He could even come up with one more word than Noah.
So, British actor Elizabeth Hurley, according to this website, can do more. Rip the glorious Sean Connery. George Takei posted some words as well. So obviously this is one of those ones where Reuters have put it, they'll no doubt update. But I'm sure we'll hear from Pierce later on. He's obviously got social media. And Timothy Dalton doesn't, but I'm sure some media outlet will call Timothy and he'll say something as well.
Is that Pierce right now we hear calling? What?
He doesn't want to be here. Pierce, it's a tribute to Sean Connery. Oh, what? You're so selfish sometimes, Pierce.
Oh, you know what? But we thank him anyways for dropping in and when Noah couldn't. Playing the part of Noah Gross today, Pierce Brosnan.
You know what I love is the fact that you mentioned this is the first time we released this as a video. I feel as though that didn't make much sense on the video, but the audio it made sense. Because like you heard Pierce, but then it was like there was a weird pause and you'll have to send
you'll have to send me the audio for the next video that we do here.
We literally before we recorded this, Colin's like, yeah, I'm gonna release this as a video. I'm like, okay, cool. You're right. Yeah, I'll do it. Okay, do we have a YouTube channel? Oh, I'll make one. Okay, cool. I'll send you the audio. Okay. Like, Colin, you know there's some intricacies here that you got to deal with. But okay, let's roll with it. Sure.
Oh, I've been making videos for this podcast, at least one or two, for the last couple of years. I should probably start using the 007 channel.
Yeah, probably. I feel weird. What videos are you making?
Sunshine, lollipops, rainbows.
Right, I'm thinking you and Jamie are like recreating bits and pieces like that. But this is the thing. Like whenever someone like this dies, like you're always going to get statements, and we live in this world where Twitter, we can get statements and things pretty quickly. But I mean, this is one of those ones where it definitely like. As Bond fans, we want to hear what the other Bond actors are saying, right? Like there's no denying that. And like clearly they're all got their phones ringing right now from everybody, trying to do that. But it's really like, I really appreciate hearing those. I mean, like we're not going to get Timothy Dalton or George Lazenby or Pierce Brosnan coming out going, fuck, I'm glad that guy's dead. It's not going to happen, but I mean, it's nice to kind of hear these thoughts. And clearly there's a bit of a golf love because both George Lazenby and Daniel Craig have shared the love of golf. So over to you, Tim and Pierce. Did you never got, maybe they never got invited for golf with Sean? What'd that be like? Golf with Sean Connery?
Tonight, following Judi Dench slapping people, golf with Sean Connery.
Yes, I'm going to use my 9-iron. Yes, here it is. Oh,
you stupid twit.
Sand trap. The sand trap. Bugger.
That we did reach out to all the Bond actors at one point. I can't remember. Did we get any response from Connery's people?
We did. We did. I was actually talking to Mallory about this just before we got air. And actually, I will pull up the email because I've still got it. And because in one of the statements about Sean dying, it's sort of saying a statement was released by his manager. And I believe his manager's been the same manager for a very long time. But from memory, and again, I'm doing this live. I'm pulling this up to see if I can even get access. Too bad if I open our email right now and there's like 50 emails from like fans going like,
"Where's your Patreon?
Come on, we want to be friends." But no, I do remember getting a reply, and it was like a polite decline, like he's retired from acting, or it might have just said push off, and maybe I'm just making things up. But no, we did reach out, and. From memory, the only person we never got a reply from, I think, might have been Dalton and Craig, because I know we got a decline from Roger's people. We got Pierce's. I think we're like, hey, I'm not the right person, but here's this other person. Contact them, and they never got back to us. And then basically,
Lazenby wanted to charge us $10,000.
He did. I really don't like sharing that story, but at the same time, here we go. Okay, so this is the email. So yeah, Nancy Seltzer, who I believe is his very long-term manager, said not thank you. Oh no, sorry, it does say thank you. They've just put the U on the line underneath. Thank you for your interest. However, Sir Sean has retired and asked that I decline all media requests. So it's I like in all seriousness, like we always knew it was going to be a no. Like fuck,
yeah.
if we got a yes, but like this is one of those moments where it's like we got a reply from his manager. Like okay,
yeah,
like we'll take that.
Frame
like,
it.
Wow. Yeah, frame it. We got declined by Sir Sean Connery. Like we've made it as a podcast. Seriously, I'll take that. So yeah,
no, that's the reason I brought it up is because as I was sort of
to share that story,
as I was remembering, walking in the footsteps where Connery walked, it was like it's that exciting. Yeah, as a Bond fan, to be rejected by the manager of a Bond actor, you could say, "I got this close. I got this close."
Yep. I found the Pierce Brosnan one here. Unfortunately, we only look after Pierce's film and television work and don't deal with his publicity and PR. He's represented by blah, 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 and is currently based there. Perhaps they might be able to help. Regards, Richard Cook. Thank you, Richard Cook.
And that is how we got Pierce Brosnan on here 5 minutes ago. What you just heard.
I know, right? Like just
Richard Cook.
Just quickly reading our emails. Just quickly here to update our listeners. The new Apple iPad Air is now available online. Apple wants us to join them for a special event. Get up to speed with a recap of the Apple event. We also have Microsoft updates to our terms of use. Meet the new 27-inch iMac by Apple. Twitter, new login to Twitter from Edge on Windows. And we also have Grace Aioli. Hi, I was wondering if you got a chance to review my previous email. I understand you must have been running a very busy schedule and could not connect earlier. Let me know if you're interested in our services so we can move ahead. I look forward to hearing back from you. Warm regards, Grace Aioli. So
that was Sean Connery's new manager, Ben. What are you doing?
Yes. Oh, and we also have apparently issues on 007.wordpress.com. So we're meant to reply to Sophia Wilson, senior web consultant. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, all of our spammers. We appreciate you.
Welcome
listening.
to Ben and Colin. Read their emails on this tribute episode to Sean Connery.
We got to go through what our rankings were for all the Connerys. I mean, not everything is directly Connery associated, but do you have all of our rankings that we've done for various episodes?
Are you talking about the actors or the movies?
All of them, like Bond girls, villains.
One up. I can get the. Oh, right, you want all of them? Jesus, put me to work. Why don't
Yeah.
you? Well, I've got the Bond ones open, so only one of us put Sean as our number one Bond, and that is you. Yeah, he's waving.
Two of me. Hello.
Noah and I had him at number 2. So with that in mind, he did come out on top as number 1. So yeah, but I mean, look, you all knew who my number 1 was always going to be, and it's never changed. Pierce has always been my number 1. Sean has always been number 2 for me. And I think I always thought Noah would put him at number 1, but he kind of surprised us a little bit with Roger Moore at number 1. So, but it wasn't that surprising. We know Noah was a big fan of Roger. So I kind of like that we each had a different number 1. I thought that was unique. But yeah, no, he came out at number 1 on that list. Just looking here that 2 of the top 3 Bonds, according to us, are dead. So Pierce Brosnan, just don't get COVID.
Stop saying that, Ben.
Pierce Brosnan dying. Yeah. So other ones. Talk for a minute, Colin. I'll find these.
All right. Well, let's do the Bond girls. What is our favorite Sean Connery Bond girl? I can take a guess.
Sean Connery in drag in Zardos.
Charles
Easy.
Gray in Diamonds Are Forever.
Look what the cat dragged in. All right, so hang on. I'm getting. Oh, remember that episode, Drop Dead Ben ranking the songs? What a good time. Yeah,
I could assist with this too. You know, so I'll pull up one.
You could do some work here for once,
You're
Colin.
doing nothing.
You've got the internet, I believe, in Winnipeg. That hasn't been cut off. Just,
while we're talking here,
on lockdown.
While we're talking here, just 2 things I wanted to add. The one was I'm rereading the Bond novels now, because now I have time to finish that before No Time to Die eventually comes out. So I started with You Only Live Twice, which is completely different from the movie. You know, surprise there, Ben. And then the other one I read was The Man with Golden Gun, which of course also very different from the movie, but not a Connery one. And now I'm doing Moonraker, which also very different from the movie, but not a Connery one. And I realized that no matter what Bond novel I'm reading, even if it is one that was adapted by another actor, Casino Royale, when I read Casino Royale, I don't envision Daniel Craig. No matter what Bond book I'm reading, I always picture Sean Connery in it, which is kind of crazy.
Interesting.
I dream about him.
I haven't started reading him yet, so I can't tell you yet.
You've bought them. You are so excited to buy all these Bond novels.
On my shelf right now. I haven't bought all of them. I still got some to go, but I reckon I'll picture Idris Elba just to be, modern. So I've got the list here. What do we? Okay, so songs. Do songs count? Do we?
Sure. Yeah.
Are we doing this overall, or do you want me to go through every individual? Let's just go overall. That's too much to go through the other ones. You know how stupid my opinions are. So the highest Sean Connery song is Goldfinger at number 7. Wow. My bad. That was me. Thunderball at 9. Diamonds Are Forever at 10. What else do we have here? Oh God, From Russia with Love at 18. You Only Live Twice, which we opened and we'll close with You Only Live Twice because Colin thinks he might come back to life again. Why not? Number 19, You Only Live Twice. And did I miss any? I don't think I missed any there. Well, we don't have Three Blind Mice ranked. Henchman rankings.
I've got the Bond Girls one here. If you're
you go Bond Girls. You go next.
Okay, so overall, our number one Sean Connery Bond girl is Honey Rider, number 4. Then we have Tatiana at number 6. Tiffany Case at 8. Oh, that bothers me still. Because she's a point higher than Pussy Galore, Ben.
Hey, I didn't have her as high as bloody Noah.
And then our lowest overall was Kissy Suzuki, which I think if we had Aki on there, it would have been higher, but unfortunately it was Kissy.
Yeah. I've got the Henchman. So our highest one is Red Brand at number 5, Odd Job at number 6, Winton Kid at number 7. Yes. Irma Bunt at number 8. Oh no, sorry, wrong one. Well, fuck it. Could have been in a Connery movie had he gone there. Fiona Volpe at number 10. I was going to say Zhao. Remember that iconic Connery henchman Zhao?
Yes.
Professor Dent at 16. And is that it? I believe that's it there. Yes.
I got the villains here.
Go for it.
Also, kind of odd. The highest ranking Connery villain we have is Goldfinger at number 6, followed by Donald Pleasance Blofeld at 7, Dr. No at 8. So we got 3 in the top 10, but none in the top 5. We got Rosa Klebb at 12. We have Largo at 20. And Charles Gray Blofeld at 22.
Look what the cat dragged to the bottom. Pre-titles, that was only you and I, wasn't it? We did that one. So the highest one on that one is, well, this is not very high at all. From Russia with Love, number 12. Then Thunderball at 14. You Only Live Twice at 22. And Diamonds Are Forever at 23. Where's Goldfinger? Oh, Goldfinger at number 5. I've missed over that one. Sorry. And Dr. No didn't really have one. So, and we obviously didn't do Never Say Never Again. You did Villains, did you not? So the only one there, I believe, is the movies itself.
Yeah.
So based on our rankings, the highest Connery film we had was From Russia with Love at 5, followed by Goldfinger at 6. Then you got to go down to Diamonds Are Forever at 14. How do you feel about that? Diamonds Are Forever, the third best Connery movie. Thunderball at 17, too high. You Only Live Twice at 22. And Dr. No is at number 10. Sorry, I keep forgetting Dr. No. There it is. And again, no, Never Say Never Again. Also, did Never Say Never Again come out on top of our unofficial ones? I think Casino Royale 57 came out on top, didn't it?
Yeah, probably. I don't think I would have put Never Say Never Again had I. It's funny though you mentioned Diamonds Are Forever. I mean, I think that I had that ranked 3rd lowest overall for me. It was in my bottom 3. I think only License to Kill and Die Another Day did I rank lower as a movie. But I did rewatch Diamonds Are Forever. My opinion does not change on the movie. I still think it's a terrible movie. But really, if you look at Connery, I mean, the first 4 movies is where he's trying. And You Only Live Twice, let's say Diamonds Are Forever, and Never Say Never Again, not really trying so hard. But I will say, I've come around a little bit on Connery's performance in Diamonds Are Forever. You Only Live Twice. I will say You Only Live Twice is the single most bored that man has ever looked in his life. Like, there isn't one moment of that movie where I believe he has a pulse. But Diamonds Are Forever,
careful.
It's in no defense of the movie, but I believe he was having a blast making that movie. I honestly believe he was making fun of the movie and the franchise the whole time, and that it was intentional, but he was enjoying making fun of the franchise. So I'll give that to Connery. He had a lot of humor in that movie, whether it was Cubby Broccoli and Harry Saltzman's intention or not.
I think on his deathbed, he had more life in him before
yes.
sadly passed and that. But just quickly, the unofficial ones, I just did find the rankings. We all had Casino Royale 54 at number 1. Me and Noah had Never Say Never Again at number 2. You had 67, Casino Royale at number 2. And then, the other ones at 3. I keep coming more and more around to Diamonds Are Forever. I'm really with Noah's fandom of that one, just because we talked a lot about that earlier this year in some of our rankings episodes. We did rankings episodes this year with Noah. Remember that?
Yeah.
So, there is that. But, it's interesting because, you know, I have Connery at number 2 on my rankings list, but like I don't go out of my way to watch the Connery films as much as I do with some of the other ones. And that's just always been me. It's sort of, you know, I'm a different mindset when it comes to the older films, but I do appreciate them. Like I'd gladly sit down and watch Goldfinger. I'd gladly sit down and watch Diamonds Are Forever, just as a fun sort of take your mind off shit. If I wanted to have a serious one to really kind of, you know, put my mind to shit, I would watch From Russia with Love. You know, I'm not the biggest Thunderball fan. I find that maybe the most boring of the Bond movies. You only live twice. It's there. And Dr. No, I'm in the middle with it as well. Like, it's never been one of my favorite ones as well, whereas I know Noah loves it. And I'm pretty sure you love Dr. No. So, but that's not to take away from the performances. I feel it's kind of like, and this is a weird comparison, but I think you know where I'm going with. It's kind of like how people look at Pierce Brosnan now, where they're like, hey, he's a good Bond, but he's in bad movies.
Mm-hmm.
He had 1 good film and 3 bad films. That's generally what people say about Brosnan now. I look at Sean Connery like he's a brilliant Bond, and he's maybe in 2 films that I love and I will watch, but the other 3 are kind of like, you know, oh, look like they're fine. I'll watch it if I'm watching in order, but I won't go out of my way. I should say 2 films. Like I would watch From Russia with Love. It's just you need to be in the mood for it, I think, because it's a thinking man's movie. So, and a thinking person's movie, Ben. Women can watch it too. It's 2020. Get over it. Remember all those dark days before 2011, before women could watch From Russia with Love. Don't talk about those days. But I don't know where I'm going with this, but
it's crazy though that he's able to have that following that Pierce Brosnan won't have. Whereas they're the exact same person. I mean, Connery had a lot of misses as James Bond. And I would go as far as say his first 4 movies are all great, but you know, his last, if you include Never Say Never Again, his last 3, you know, all cash grabs.
And I don't include that. Like I think I said in one of those episodes that I lost a bit of respect. I think it was in the rankings episode. I said I lost a bit of respect for, and I still stand by that. Like I get it. I get why you did it. And like in some part of me, I'm like, cool, I'm kind of glad you kind of donned the tux once more. But at the same time, it's such a shit show of a movie. Like if Pierce Brosnan right now came out and did like Thunderball 2020 or whatever that other project was going to be, I would lose a bit of respect for Pierce Brosnan if that movie was as bad as Never Say Never Again.
That's what I'm getting at though. I mean, imagine if Pierce Brosnan right now announced he's going to be starring in Never Say Invisible Car Again, a remake of Die Another Day for a rival studio. Nobody would give him the respect that Connery still gets. And I'm not trashing Connery with that. I'm just saying that's how powerful he was in this role. And other roles too. I mean, let's not forget Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade. How somebody could actually be next to Harrison Ford, aside from Sean Connery's James Bond, probably the only other actor character combination I could think of that it would be nearly impossible to recast, but I'm sure they'll find a way to do it one day, would be Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. He not only holds his own, I mean, that became Harrison Ford and Sean Connery's franchise from that moment.
And also the one thing too that I always like, just cool little Sean Connery things that I always love is the fact that he could have been in Jurassic Park. He could have been with Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum, because he was initially offered the role of Dr. Hammond and he turned it down. And not to take away, like Richard Attenborough was amazing in that role and that's his role, but it's one of these things that it could have easily been. I mean, imagine if Sean Connery was in Jurassic Park. Yeah. Like imagine the weight that would have added to that. So he really was an enigma. It's and I think he also turned down, did he not also turn down Gandalf in Lord of the Rings? And I think that's kind of one of those things. I always see that on like those top 10 actors, you know, like how John Travolta turned down Forrest Gump and things like that, like, you know, that they could have won an Oscar for and things like that. Not that Ian McKellen won an Oscar, but I think Sean Connery, didn't he come out and say something like, oh, like he wanted more money, or there was some weird story behind it and he went and did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but he very much could have been Gandalf. And again, it's a similar thing to Richard Attenborough. You don't take that away from Ian McKellen. I don't even like Lord of the Rings, but I mean, I know he owns that role, so Ian McKellen. And Ian McKellen is great. Like we all love him, just like we love Richard Attenborough. But it's still, again, one of these kind of, you know, 50-50 moments where you're like, imagine how things could be if Sean Connery had been these roles. Like as you're saying with Indiana Jones, like he kind of transcends into this franchise in which it was Harrison Ford, and now it's, you know, Harrison Ford and Sean Connery. So what a duo that is. Harrison Ford and Sean Connery together. James Bond and Han Solo in a film together. Wow.
Well, and we were talking about Sam Neill before this. I mean, Hunt for Red October. Sean Connery, Alec Baldwin, and Sam Neill all in one movie, all in one submarine.
Well, Harrison Ford must have a thing for the Bond actors, because the Daniel Craig movie we're going to be doing is Cowboys and Aliens, right? So Han Solo and James Bond again. So has he been in a movie with Pierce? Has he been in a movie with Timothy, George, you know?
Sorry. My heart just started beating fast.
Just issue.
Yeah. The idea of it's just, But I mean, we could go on all day about his filmography. I know that I'll be watching some Connery tonight. Not sure what it'll be. Maybe Entrapment. Maybe First Night even. I've never seen First Night, and I saw that was on Amazon
I remember
Prime.
watching that as a kid. I don't know if I was a big fan of that, but oh fuck, I don't watch Zardoz. Why not? You know, let's
yeah, let's do it. Let's do it again right now.
dust off the wedding dress. Let's bring out Zardoz.
Anxiously awaiting.
I don't want to have to do these.
Yeah, like we're gonna have a couple more of these because we're going to outlive.
Who's dying now? What?
Well, I'm just saying I'm gonna outlive most of the Bond actors. I don't know about Ben.
I'm going to die tomorrow now, folks. I'm going to get a message from Jamie going, hey, Ben, just letting you know, Colin's dead. FYI, I'm single now, so when that Mallory thing doesn't work out.
It's not going to be, send me the audio from that episode so I can see what you did.
I don't want to be morbid, and fuck, we're here anyway. We're on the topic, but now we've only got 4 left. So they're starting to drop like flies.
I don't want to be morbid, but they're starting to drop like flies.
In all seriousness, though, like we will never have this unless Daniel Craig dies like now at age 50 something. We're like no disrespect to George Lazenby, you and I and Noah and Bond fans, well, most Bond fans will mourn George Lazenby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think in Australia they will barely pass a mention of him halfway through the news, and he's an Australian James Bond. You know, Pierce Brosnan dying would be a big thing. Like, don't get me wrong, probably still not on Sean Connery's level. Timothy Dalton, again, it would be like a Roger Moore thing. I feel Timothy Dalton would just be like hey, remember this guy who played Bond? He did some other things, but he's mainly known as Bond.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, I don't know where I'm going with this. Clearly, I'm just trying to get this out of my system to kill each of them off. But it's something that we don't want to have to do. We don't want to do these tribute episodes. But thankfully for us, we've been in existence now for 5 years. We've only done 2 in 3 years. So that's not too bad, is it? Has the actor who did James Bond Jr. died?
I don't know who did James Bond Jr.
Yeah, well, I don't think they even want to remember that they did that.
I'm sure he will soon.
Let's look that up. You keep talking while I look that up.
Yeah, well, this is what the listeners we need to know.
Corey Burton.
Oh, Corey Burton. Yeah, he's great.
Thing.
We just talked about him doing the on the Oz Network. We just talked about him doing the narrator voice in Dudley Do Right.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay. We did too. I thought you were being funny there for a second, but no. He. All right. Well, stay with us, Corey. Don't go towards the
line. We will be back very soon, though. We already covered.
Do it in November. We promise.
Yeah. Well, I think we already have the schedule penciled in for next week to start recording some episodes again.
In all seriousness, like all jokes aside, we have been meaning to, and excuses. You don't want to hear them, but. I think given now that we have another like 5 months at least till the next delay of No Time to Die, I think it is within our plans to get all these recaps done of each of the Bond actors, and I feel we will need to do another No Time to Die preview sort of episode. We will have to, in the lead up to it. And my plan also is to similar to what we did with Rocky, have Mallory on, of course, for the rewatch episode. She got up to Man with the Golden Gun. She has moments, Mallory, where she'll be like, yeah, I really want to do it. Then I kind of mention it to her and she'll be like, eh. So
that's Jamie too.
Somebody did post recently, I think like maybe about 2 weeks ago, that if you started watching all the Bond movies this weekend and watch once a week, you will have watched them all in between now and No Time to Die. But yeah. And one thing I'll say too, just quickly on the delay of No Time to Die, thank you, MGM and Universal, for not caving into Apple's $600 million fee and Netflix's, because let's be honest, $600 million would have well and truly paid for it and gotten you most of your money back. But I think we said this on the last episode or one of our episodes. It might have been an Oz Network episode, actually, where I said, even if they release this on streaming tomorrow and said, but we will still release it in cinemas in April, I wouldn't watch it until April. And I'm sure a lot of Bond fans would be doing the same.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, we're on lockdown here in Manitoba in 2 days, and this would have been the week of No Time to Die's release, and it's the first time I've been happy that movie theaters are going to be closing, because it makes me feel better about the fact they delayed Bond, because
maybe we'll get some of your movies, because we keep getting stuck. I don't think here in Victoria they realize that Tenet's old now. Like we're still not getting the like you're getting the Star Wars movies still, and like we got them for a while. I went and saw Back to the Future, but every week I look, it's still just like Tenet and that Russell Crowe one and that Liam Neeson one and
SpongeBob.
Yeah, SpongeBob. That Keanu Reeves one.
I have plans to maybe go see Ghostbusters this afternoon. So Monday morning, it's being shipped over there to Victoria.
I need to look this up, actually. It's been a while since I've looked at what's showing in our cinemas. So let's see here. What can I go see? I can see Tenet. I can see The Addams Family. I can see The Empty Man. I can see Come Play. I can see SpongeBob, Hotel Transylvania. Oh, Goosebumps. I guess it's all Halloween movies, right? The Conjuring, Honest Thief, The War with Grandpa, The New Mutants, Bless You.
Whoa!
Monster House, Hocus Pocus. Wow, there's actually a few here, but they're all Halloween movies. I can see Dracula, Northern Ballet.
Oh, we've been waiting. We're going to cover that on our Patreon if anybody wants to pay us. But you can sign up on Patreon. Give the address again, Ben. Maybe I'll flash it on the video here.
Yes, that beloved Patreon that... you've got the ability to do that. I didn't know that you have an editing software. You need to tell me what you use. Is it patreon.com/007? I think that's it.
All right.
Oh, that one. Hang on. Where am I pointing?
By the way, I'm just going to have to... The logo's going to be all over the place.
Which way did this go? That's that way. Oh, that way. Oh, there.
You know what? If we'd submitted this clip for the Australian Podcast Awards, we would have been in an awards banquet right now.
I can't move my fingers.
Oh, I'm gonna have some fun with this video.
That way. There it is. That's a Tasmanian tiger. That's our logo.
There you go. Finally got it. And that's my underwear. So,
show underwear.
Thank you for joining us.
It's Steve Irwin holding a crocodile.
Oh, I've got nothing here. This is a pen.
This is an exploding pen. We don't go for those anymore. Show us the code, Natalia. Tell us the code.
This is my medal from my virtual 10K run that Ben and I did back in the summer.
This is the new James Bond.
This is my diploma.
All right, this is wow. That's my degree. I'm not moving it because the camera took forever for me to set up. That's Mallory.
I've got, it's sad. I've got my Funko figure of Odd Job sitting at work, which I can't pick up now.
I've got a Blofeld and a Bond Funko Pop, but they're over there. So. I think Mallory's going to get them for me.
There we go. There's a magic video. Hold on. Now, Ben, you have to try to point at it while it's dropped in front of you.
So you say I need to dance. I'll dance.
Yeah, dance.
That's Jeff Goldblum. That's not Bond.
Don't you know, Mallory?
Hi, Jason.
Deleted scene of Zardoz.
Oh, Mr. Bond, you bang bang. This is actually that's the wrong one. That's Piers. Not sure. It took me forever to find the GoldenEye Funko Pop, and finally I got it. There are no Time to Die Funko Pops now, so maybe we're gonna have to get some. But
yeah, when I was buying my copies of Rising Sun and The Rock today, I was actually looking for the Connery Funko figure. But the one that I actually really wanted was the white tux Sean Connery, which I wanted $27 for. I guarantee there is some fan fiction on the internet of Jeff Goldblum making out with Sean Connery, which is what I'm watching right now, or Pierce Brosnan.
Finds a way. Oh my God, yeah. Our audio listeners have no idea what's happening right now.
Yeah, we need confusion on both sides. Anyways, we will be back very soon to cover The Man Who Haunted Himself, Roger Moore, and then eventually we'll make our way through Dalton and Brosnan and Craig, and we'll work our way back to Sean Connery at some point. I'm sure we will.
Yeah, rest in peace. When I feel this episode turns silly, but yeah.
It's supposed to. This is how we get rejected for podcasting awards.
Yes.
Mr. Bond. Thank you for joining us. My name is Colin, and miss you, Sean.
My name is Ben, and shit, I'm dead.
Make one dream come true. You only live twice. And love is a stranger who'll beckon you on. Don't think of the danger, for the stranger is gone. one dream come true. You only